All right, boys. As a day one player in Grand Cross, I have seen many units come and go. I've seen metas come and go. I've seen people complain about units. I've seen global release, the biggest mistake ever. I've seen all sorts of things happen. But today I will be ranking units based on how iconic they were. And I've made tiers I think make sense. We start with meta definer, right? Just like a really good PvP or PVE unit, right? Like they did stuff that like changed how we made like we play PvP or something. A game changer, someone that like introduced a mechanic or did something that made Netmarble change how they make units. A classic is just a classic. You'll see them, you'll know it. They're classic unit. Okay, I have good examples for this too. Trust. And then this is a game that it wouldn't be the same about them. They might have not done anything, right? They might have just had like one little thing happen, but it was iconic enough, or it was memorable enough for me to put them here. Which I think classic might be higher. They're kind of the same, right? Well, we'll see. We'll see how we do this, right? And we have icon. This is a unit very iconic, right? Like if we talk about Grand Cross, you would have to mention this unit. But then there's also that guy, which I don't know, that might be plural, you know, that guys, you know, because maybe there's more. I don't know. I actually don't know who I put here. There's very many contenders for the #1 most iconic unit spot, and I think it also depends on what version you play. But regardless, gonna be ranking them. I'll just go through this. I'll ignore a lot of units. Okay, like I'm not gonna rank Arden. I'm not gonna run like Arthur, like the SR one, even though like he got some use. I'm not gonna like he wasn't like this Arthur didn't do like he wasn't the meta defining unit. It was Red Escanor, right? For like the mono red team on initially. So I'm not gonna rank this guy, right? He's not the one that caused it. But regardless, let's move on. To be fair, Green Arthur is kind of a unit I want to put somewhere because I feel like he definitely did something. He was just really good for PvE, right? But he wasn't really that much of like a super, like he wasn't super impactful. He was just really good to have for everyone, but he wasn't like super impactful. Same with these guys, right? These all don't do anything. Now we get to the first real unit, Nunchuck Ban. Now this is at least a classic. I can't put him in meta definer. He is a classic, okay? Because he came out and he came out. He was super broken. Well, he was out day one technically on JP. Super broken, right? Dominated the meta. Was never the best unit though, right? But he's a classic. I feel like meta definer like sounds so sad for some of the units I'm gonna put here, because I feel like they're better units than Ban. But I think Ban is just more like everyone knows. Oh, it's Coin Shop Ban. Everyone knows him. Everyone knows him. Everyone loves him. Everyone, right? If you never ran Red Gowther, Nunchuck Ban, and King, like you missed out. I'm sorry to tell you, you've missed out. You haven't played good Grand Cross. Okay, those were the times. Those were the times, right? This guy, and the stuff that happened on global, the conversations. Certain YouTuber saying you should go lifesteal gear, and then I got rid of him. Let's just say that. Okay, I got rid of him. You know, more or less combined effort. But yeah, anyway, big boy, big cool boy. Again, just good PvE unit, not worth mentioning. This guy though, it's really tough to rank him, right? Like I feel like you could put him in meta definer, you could put him in game changer, because he brought back like unit scaling of stats, like teams based around stats instead of like races and colors. And he also brought back, or he introduced unit scaling of something that wasn't attack, because his card scaled of HP, right? So I feel like it's definitely like, let's do this, right? Yeah, we'll do this. Because I feel like this is more iconic to the game. The fact that his cards scaled off HP, right, was super big. And now we have unit scaling of defense, and then we have units scaling of attack and HP, right? I think that is, it definitely does game changer. It wouldn't be the same without him, because a lot of units like just made around the human team, right? But then I think that would be meta definer if I put him there for that reason. So I'm gonna put him in game changer, but we'll see. Maybe I move them around at the end. All these units, they don't really do anything for me here, really. No, I'm sorry. This guy, I kind of want to put him in classic because he had a little like nerf debacle when he released, but it wasn't big enough. This guy is a game changer. this guy is a game changer because he released right after Margaret, and it's the first time in a long time that the Japanese community actually really like revolted, that's the right word, against that marble, and they really came together and they're like, no guys, you can't do this. Because if you remember on JP, Margaret came out, and then a week after Kusek came out, and then they're like, okay, I know it's just a 1 week thing, and like it's also 2 fests back to back, or it's like 2 weeks, but it was 2 fests back to back, which is still cringe. But if you pull Kusek, we'll give you a free dupe for him, right? It's not good enough. And also like no, like it's just horrible, right? So I feel like we can put him in game changer because this like really showed them marble like with like they can't get away with everything, right? Like there's a limit. So I feel like I have to put Kusek here. I definitely have to put him here. You are worthless. You're like kind of worthless. Delgy is just funny. Not worth putting anywhere though. Derriere is definitely wouldn't be the same about him. Or icon, actually icon. Genuinely an icon. Red Derriere, actually an icon. 90% of the content in the game is cheesable with Red Derriere, and for the longest time everything was cheesable with Derriere until they like made it so it's harder to cheese with her. And even then she's still good to cheese with. And even then she's still good for guild boss, sorta. And even then she's still good for like all sorts of PvE activities. Never good in PvP, never, ever, not a single day was she good in PvP. But she does deserve icon slot easily. I was gonna put like game changer. Nah, but she's an icon. She might honestly, nah, she's an icon. She's not a contender for this. She's not a contender for that. Definitely an icon though. 100% an icon. An icon of a unit, 100%. And both global and JP. Like, that's just how like impactful she was. Green Derriere, not so much. Like, she had her like low shine, but I was like, no, definitely not. Oh, no, guys, I just realized who I'll have to put in that guy. I think genuinely. No, I won't. Nah, do I? I don't know. If you guys know, if you guys can already assume who I'm thinking about, then maybe. It's a red unit. Oh, no. Alright, anyway. Diane, none of them were really like anything here. Like, you could say she was meta defining, but only because nothing better was out, right? And like her ultimate was strong. That does not really do it for me, so I don't want to count her this. This one though is meta defining, right? She brought back Ult Rush in like such a big way. Is she though? I feel like she kind of isn't. Like, she kind of is, but I'm gonna put her here, okay, as like a honorable mention. But we'll see if she stays on there. You're also meta defining. The Ragnarok. Nah, you didn't live long enough to be a meta defining like classic unit, right? So I'll keep you off the list. Dogedo did actually have his 1 week of Shrine in the PvP role, but we'll ignore that. Droll was a huge, like, impactful unit, but he never took the spotlight, I don't think. He never really was like the spotlight, like the focus of attention, so I'm gonna ignore him too. And then Green Easton was she's sort of a classic, right? I feel like I can put her in classic and people would understand. She's sort of a classic. Like, especially on JP, because she was like the Liz counter, right? The Goddess Liz counter. And when Goddess Liz dropped on JP on Global, everyone was like, guys, just wait for Green Easton. And Green Easton released on Global, and then we were all like, yeah, actually, like, she doesn't really do much. But she was, I think she's a classic. I think she's a classic. Definitely classic. Definitely classic. You're not old enough to like be meta defining. You're also not meta defining, so it doesn't help. These are all, you could say like the Valentines and whatever units, like they're like game changing, right? Because they like added the whole costume mechanic, but I don't want to count that. I think it's kind of boring. Technically game changer, global first, but I'm gonna ignore that too. She is a classic, right? SR Liz, definitely a classic, 100% a classic. Back in the day when Final Boss didn't have like a score system with like ranking, but it was just beat it and like you're done with it, and you get gems for that. When it was like that, she was the backline for most teams, right? Like, I used her for every single one. Like, I used her for Merlin, I used her for Gowther, I used her for King, because I was struggling, right? I wasn't that strong back then. On JP, when those things initially dropped, they were really difficult, like, genuinely, unless you were like whaled out on stuff. But like, I had just restarted an account and I was like super lost. So she was super strong, and she's still used to like some stuff, right? Like she came back for like Belmoth, right? People use her on her team still. I still see them run her. Like there's a lot of stuff that she definitely deserves to be at least a classic. Like Heike maybe wouldn't be out the same, but I don't know. Well, we'll see how that goes. It's hard to say. Nah, I can't really rank her. Same like the suicide units. I won't rank them. I feel like they deserve it. This guy though, she is definitely an icon. I think. Nah, as a classic. She's also a classic. We all know. I don't think I have to explain her. The infinite stats. Super crazy cracked red demon unit, free to play. I remember it was Grand Cross like 2 weeks into JP release. I was doing red demon, right? I was doing hard red demon, I think. No, we were doing extreme because we had like the freeze strategy. That's how we used to beat it. There was like King petrifies and Red Merlin freezes every turn. And this guy joins and he has SR Liz, and I put in a group chat like this guy's trolling. And then he doesn't attack with her. I'm like, okay, well we just like keep freezing. We keep freezing like the enemy. We keep whittling down like the red demon. And then he attacks with like this Liz, and she's like 200k. I'm like, what? Like 200k damage is nuts, by the way. Like back then, like level 60 units, like 3-star, 4-star awakened, maybe if most, with like common gear, and she's doing like 200k. Like what? Wait, I put it in chat and everyone's like freaking out, like, oh my god, he's hacking. Or you have a modder in your lobby. Like, oh shit. And that's like, I tried to add a guy, he didn't accept me, but a different guy, like next time I did a join, and the same thing. Like she was just that guy. And the same on global, right? Even on global, she was super like she was that unit, right? People talked about her like left, right, and center. If you remember global launch, she definitely deserves to be there. I think she's kind of a classic, but nah. There we go. Icon, absolute icon of the game. I think I don't need to say anything, right? Just an absolute icon, just an absolute icon. Not just this, right? Not just did she release and she was this unit. She released, and with her release came Super Awakening. All right, she introduced Super Awakening, huge. The anniversary on JP introduced Super Awakening, huge, absolutely huge. Right, super crazy change to the game, but I don't want to count that. But as a unit herself, icon, like genuinely contender for that guy. I will put her up here. She deserves to be there. 100% she deserves to be there. 100%, 100% she deserves to be there. 100%. She's that unit. I feel like you don't really deserve to be there, sadly. Like you're the first light unit, I guess, but you're not iconic. I don't think she's iconic at all. I don't think she's iconic. Like she dropped and people weren't hype. Like, yeah, if to be an icon, you have to have something like that's crazy about you. We hit top grossing. When she released, I guess, you know. But regardless, as for Aaron, you know, I'll put him classic. People like used him a lot to meme on unknown units, right? And did like a lot of like funny videos with him. Benny Mara, I kind of skipped over Benny Mara. He's not really anywhere, I think. Yeah, he's not really anywhere. Yeah, anyway, Amelia is a meta definer for a very long, very long. She was a meta definer. I can't put her anywhere else. She's just a meta definer. That's all she is. Red Escanor, though, also a meta definer. I actually can't put him anywhere else either. Yeah. On JP, he released on New Year's on a banner, even though he was a coin shop unit, which was really big. And people, like, I was really excited. I remember Nagato was really excited. Mika was really excited. Sharon Enigma, we were all super excited back then we were playing. Because it was like, oh my god, we can get this unit without spending 5 SSR dupes on the unit, right? Or 7, right, technically. And it's like huge. Like, it was so big. It's like, oh my god, if you pull them, you save so much. Because back then, coin shop units were like broken. So he was on the banner. People were like pulling for him more than anyone else on the banner. So yeah, he also definitely defined the meta for a very long time. Like half a year-ish, right? Like until like, yeah, even when like Lost Vein came out, he was still meta. Like Lost Vein was obviously like by far in the way like the best unit, but he was still like he was so meta, like insane. Green Escanor, same thing, kind of. Like, I can put him in classic, though. I feel like he's definitely classic. Definitely wouldn't be the same about him. He introduced the Escanor animation. Yeah, definitely wouldn't be the same. I don't think he's iconic enough. He kind of is. Global launch kind of made him iconic, but I feel like he's more like the wouldn't be the same about them tier, right? The one is definitely an icon of the game. With how much he did, the whole drama around him in Assault Melee, just how dominant he was on release. The Glue Eater team was good for over a year. He's still used in PVE. Definitely icon. Definitely icon. Definitely is maybe deserving of that guy. He is. When he dropped, it was different, right? It was different. I returned to Grindcross. I saved the YouTube scene. It was different. The one ultimate is definitely meta defining. I can't put him anywhere else yet. He's not big enough to put like anywhere else. In like a year from now, right? I'll put him somewhere. But right now, he's just a meta defining unit, right? All right, game changer, right? Because now we have passives that scale of ults, I guess, right? So I guess I can put him here, right? Game changer, I think that's fair. Nah, I don't think so. I think meta definer. He's more of a meta definer than he is anything else. Right, Esterosa. Red Esterosa was worthless on release. All he was an outfit for green Esterosa. Now, both of these came out at the same time. And let me show you something. I actually managed to pull both of them in the same multi when they released. Back when this was the guaranteed SSR, by the way. Just a random. I pulled both in the same multi. I remember, huge. I was so happy. It was nuts. It was nuts. And green Esterosa was definitely a super iconic unit. Genuinely an icon. Every content in the game he was able to solo. Broken in PvP, broken in PvE, was really good for like months to come. And then we also had that Grand Cross like YouTuber tournament where you know, funny stuff happened. Now, I won't go into detail. You know, I love Nano. I can't slander my boy. But you know, we know what happened. You are just really good. You're just a really good unit. I guess meta defining, right? Like, I guess. Not really, because he didn't really change the meta. Like, he just made demons good. But he didn't change the meta, right? Like, the meta was still, like, the same teams. So, like, people, like, start switching teams, you know? Wink, wink, like, Bloody Melly made Valentia thing. And, like, Red King and stuff, you know? Wink, wink. Anyway. Philo is really strong, and that's all she gets. He does not quite deserve anything. I was gonna say he kind of deserves it, but nah, not really. Nah, same thing. Gallant sort of like really wasn't. He's a classic. I think he's a classic. I might be biased. I think he's a classic though. Especially in global, I feel like he's really strong in global. He wasn't that strong on JP because like Green Esther came out right after. Same on global, to be fair. But like I don't know. I feel like he had solid enough impact and people really cared about him. And his passive was like big against, because Gowther was like so broken, right? So like this was actually kind of big. So actually I'll put him in classic. I might be a little biased, you know, it is what it is. None of these units really do it. Elat's sorta for like, that's just guild boss though. Right. Let's just go for these. Red Gowther, sorry you were never anything. Meta defined. No, he's just good backline. I can't like, he's a good unit. He didn't define a meta. So I can't really put him anywhere. Same with Glocks, nothing really. Red Gowther is definitely that guy. He's definitely that guy. Green Gowther is also most certainly a game changer. Rank up was already a thing. I don't want to put him in that guy. But he's definitely a game changer. He changed the whole game to be focused around different races and having race combinations instead of having like pierce teams, anti-pierce teams, human teams, right? Like the mono red one, that type of stuff, right? Like he was big for that, but Red Gowther is generally that guy, right? Like the attack seal, the attack stacking on his passive for demons back then when you could like just instantly stun them. The rank up obviously broken. Like he is that guy. Like arguably he's the most iconic unit in Grand Cross, right? I think, but we'll get to that. Another game changer, Festival Gowther. Definitely a game changer because his banner, if you don't remember, it was double rates for him. It was 0.5. We don't have that for any other fest ever. And they changed it. They changed no fest on the banner. We're introducing a fest banner where you can summon on festivals if you want. And then this and this and that. And the community didn't like it. So they did it for like one time, right? This banner, and then they had the fest banner and stuff separately. And then they immediately reverted. So we never got to really experience it. I think long term this would have been a lot better. That way, to be fair, in my honest opinion. But regardless, we're here now, so it is what it is. Right, do I put him on a list, huh? Is he worthy of coming on the iconic list? I think so, because I think people will talk about him in like a year from now still. All right, I'll put him in a classic. I think he deserves classic. Gila, sadly, none of you did anything. Hawks. I want to say Green Hawk sort of achieved something, right? Because he's like the PVE beast, and like people did a lot of videos and stuff about him. And people got great use out of him too, but I don't know. This guy, meta defining, that's all I could say. These guys, not so much. This guy was also just really like king support, right? He wasn't like really anything else. The Hausers, all sadly nothing. Like, you just farm unit, right? I guess he's a classic. I feel like he's a classic. He was used for so much stuff. I can put him in classic too. People always ask, always read Arthur good, so I want to put him here. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, I'm sorry, worthless, all worthless. You're kind of iconic for me because she was like one of my biggest videos for the longest time. Green Jericho definitely makes it an icon though. Not that guy, but definitely an icon. She's such a dominant unit on global launch. We kind of like stepped on her on JP for like the longest time, but she like was really broken, right? Up until you just got correct stats, she was like that guy. Jim Hopper, kind of a classic. Jormungandr is like made for an event, whatever. Rat King, the Fat Kings don't really do anything. This guy was kind of cool, right? Like, he wasn't meant at the fighting. He was just a good counter unit. I don't think it was worth putting anywhere there. This guy though, I'm sorry, I'm sick by the way. Definitely that guy. For 2 years maybe. For the first 2 like anniversaries, like until the 2nd anniversary, it was probably still usable. Like, this guy did not want to age. Like, fossilization, heal, a strong ultimate, like, he just wouldn't fall off. His CC was always good. Like, he was always a fate link to. He's definitely that guy. He dominated Grindcross for the first like entire year. Pretty much, right? Like until Lost Vein, which was just like 9 months, right? Until like 9 months into the game, he was by far and away like probably the best unit with Gowther. Like, yeah, we can't understate. And he also changed the game. Like, he also changed the game. He made so many bosses have to have like petrify immunity and stuff. Yeah, huge unit. Just huge unit. Just what a huge unit. Definitely achieved a lot. We can say the thing about most kings. This guy, same thing, sorta. He was meta defining for 1 week. No, I actually can't even put him there then, I guess. He wasn't really like that meta defining. He introduced like a new type of team that was really cool, but never worked out, so fortunately I can't really put him there. This king is game changer, I think. He invalidated so much content with his shield. And still does, to be fair. He's still really good for PvE. And PvP, like he was that guy. He was that guy. The first few weeks, like the first like 2-3 weeks, he was that guy. And then Lilia released it and Trader Melee released it, and it was just like, oh, I guess you're not good anymore. And now he kind of just doesn't do the job well, so I don't know. But he's definitely a game changer. I can't put him too high. He didn't last long enough to become super iconic. To you, maybe, if you've been playing since day one, though, I don't think you'll agree. You'll agree with me, I think. Next up, Kyo, meta defining. That's pretty much it, right? Blue Lilia is an icon, I think, because of the global drama. Well, Green Lilia together, right? Like both of them. I think actually you just kept both of them there. They're very iconic to the game. They both did a lot for the game meta wise, and then also like drama wise. Like they have to be here. They have to be here. Blue Lilia, meta defining, nothing more though. Yeah, sort of iconic, I guess, right? Classic, sorry. And then you're kind of a game changer, right? She's like the first fest that got like buffed after release, like hugely. So gotta put her there. These 3 don't do anything for me. Yeah, I can't really lie. Now we get to the Meliodases. And now we get to arguably the most iconic unit in the game if you're a day 1 JP player. And maybe even the day 1 global player, you'll sort of have the same like nostalgia for this guy, but not the same as JP players, I promise. But he is that guy, and it's none other than Revenge Counter Meliodas. Captain Meliodas, the classic, the only unit I know the title of, and that's for a good reason. I mean, it is what he is that guy. I don't think I have to explain, right? Counter just invalidated the game. It was such a gateway to all the content you couldn't beat, right? You were like, damn, this boss is really tough, I can't beat him. Guess I'll just use counter melee. Like, this the longest time. Even when like final boss came out and it was way past like launch, use kind of melee, you win. Easy clap. It was just that guy. He's just that guy. I kind of want to put him there. He's kind of iconic, but not really. This guy, though, definitely that guy. Like, he's definitely that guy. Meta-defining, game-changing. Immediately got a whole unit released just to nerf him, which was Green Valenti. Just crazy unit. Also crazy hype unit on the release. Lost Vein, also super iconic. The first festival, by far. If you play Dokkan, this was the STR Gogeta of Grand Cross, right? Like the most broken unit on the release, most impactful, like actually genuinely like game warping. Like wow, what a unit, wow. And like all of a sudden the old scales really crazily. Like what, dupes matter this much? What, a festival? What, 0.25% rates? Let me show you something. Right, and then look at this, like 0.25 rates, new best hero, 0.25 rates, and then here like Lost Vein, like legendary summons. Oh wow, look at him, he got him. LR, like he was just an LR, like that's how we looked at him. Legendary character, right? Like a Dokkan legendary rare, because he just had those like crazy rates, like absolutely just mental rates, right? Which is why like people just talked about him like that in that fashion. Like he was just that, like he was just so impactful. Assault Meliodas, same thing, right? For the good and the bad reasons. Icon, I can't put him in that guy, but we did have the whole boycott situation, but on JP it was kind of just like a hype unit. That's all he was. But I have to put him in. I actually will put him in. Wouldn't be the same bottom. I actually don't think he's like that iconic. All things considered, Assault Melee, I don't think he's that iconic. Nah, he is. Like his fourth weapon and everything, the drama, I have to put him in iconic. He is iconic. He's definitely iconic. This guy is a game changer. Nothing more. He introduced Dark type, super crazy unit, by far the best unit in the game until the one Ultimate dropped. I feel like he's still like still feels kind of new to me. This doesn't feel like super iconic. He will age to be like one of the most iconic units in Grand Cross, I think. But like for now, I feel like he's like there. Maybe that changes. Super like, iconic unit. You're just a meta definer. You're nothing more. Yeah, you are also just a meta definer. I don't think I have to explain these. Also just a meta definer. They didn't really do anything here, right? He had his time to shine. None of these are iconic. Nah, not iconic. This is a game changer. Ever since Rimmer, every unit suddenly only has gray buffs because if you're blue buffs, oh, guess what? You don't work anymore. It's disabled as long as Rimmer is good, and he will be good for a very long time. So unfortunately, oh, this guy is an icon. He changed so much. Also, part of the first batch of Graces, right? Him and Tarmiel, the first ones, Blue Tarmiel and Red Sariel. And he was just broken. He was crazy broken. The Grace was broken. He was broken. He was just broken. He was just so strong. We then, like, after a lot of games, a lot of weeks, we found out Tarmiel was better than him. But, like, he just did the damage, and people were like, yeah, he's the best unit in the game. And I remember, like, ranting about him in videos, too. Like, genuinely, like, months after release, I was like, he's just not okay. Like, he does too much damage. Like, get him out the game. It's so boring to fight against him stuff, right? It's nuts. It's nuts. What a unit. What a unit. On release. Crazy. He still uses Grace to this day. Yeah, not really. Nah. Sigurd, kinda. Not really. Nah, not really. Nah. And there we go. Game changing. Yeah, game changing. There you go. No, game wouldn't be the same about him too, though. It also just wouldn't be the same about him. A game would not be the same about him. But he's just game changing, right? He's just game changing. Now, you know what? I'll actually make a tier for him. Ed row above. Red Tarmiel. I actually don't like, it's hard to define. He's Red Tarmiel, right? I just put him here. Like what do you want me to do? It's Red Tarmiel. What do you want me to do? Like, realistically speaking. Who's next? All right, Blue Tarmiel. I mean, I have to put him in the same tier as Sariel, right? They're both icons of the game, and they both reigned for so long. Incredible units, right? Technically, it was Tarmiel that scaled up defense first, but just his ultimates. I didn't want to really count that, like not actual cards like Ban. Right, Terry, sort of, I guess, meta defining. Nah, he was just really strong. I don't think meta defining. you're like whatever. You're kind of like made Belmoth like doable, but that's also like whatever. He's an icon. I think he's a classic. Sorry, he's a classic. A classic's just a lesser icon. I think you wouldn't be the same about him. I think Green Valenti, because she also always came back. Nah, just game changer. Game changer. Yeah, just a game changer. Like, she did so much though. All worthless. And then we have Red Zeldris, who is definitely a meta-defining unit, but also a classic. But more so a meta-defining unit, I think, right? Like in terms of iconicness, he's like, obviously he's better than Blue Zeldris. I think Blue Zeldris is more like more of a classic, right? Oh, he doesn't crit, whatever. Waha, it was super funny. This guy also. Nah, he's a part of almost every meta-defining team, but he's not the meta-defining unit. And that's it. That's every unit in Grand Cross. This is a tier list. I'm gonna order that, guys. I'm gonna order that, guys, and then I'm gonna leave it, boys, because so it's long enough. I think it's probably something like this. Something like this. I think in this order. Maybe this. I don't know. It's hard to say between these two. Yeah, I think this is a good list. I think this is a good list. These are definitely like, if you talk about Grand Cross, and like if in the 50 years, right, we're all grandpas and we all meet up, right? We have some Grand Cross meet up. We all like sit in our chairs, right? And we're like, oh, you remember the good old times? Oh, we played Grand Cross, and then like we'll go, yes, oh, remember Liz, lol, Gluider, lol, haha. Oh, remember Lost Vein Ultimate, lol, haha. Like, we'll talk about these guys, I promise. I'll remember when I countered Hendrickson in the story for 500k. Ha. Like, we'll talk about these guys, I promise. Yeah, anyway, that's my list. Let me know if what you agree and disagree. I'm right though, because I am always right, so like, why would you bother arguing with me? And that's it from me, boys. Good job.